This week you win an M4 Hyper Beast in field tested condition. To enter like every week, like, comment and subscribe, and Victor the posting on my Discord server, link below. Thanks! You know, I never thought I have to make a video on this topic, but the many people that contact me to sell skins seem to be very surprised that their 250% profit they have made over the last 3 days is not normal. Market manipulation with CS2 skins has always been a thing, but only in a very limited amount. Nowadays, a noticeable part of the whole market volume is market manipulation. Why this is happening and how you can prevent losing money on it after this message of
skinsmonkey.com. Skinsmonkey is an automated CSGO bot trading site. They offer a huge amount of skins to instantly trade to, 24/7 live chat support, and a 35% bonus on every cash deposit. With a referral code NEON, you can get a free up to $5 bonus on your first trade when exchanging items worth at least $100. So like you can see here, I've calculated a little bit and found this cool deal on Skinsmonkey. I also used my $5 bonus. I just selected these 5 items out of my inventory for these 2 gut knife safari meshes field tested. I even got some leftover balance on the side, which I can use for my next trade. The 2 gut knives were on trade logs, so I just saved them onto the side, but some days later I could just withdraw them to my Steam, and as you can see here, I've got a really good upgrade and with my bonus code also a really good deal. So check out Skinsmonkey right now. Link to the site with my bonus code is in the description. Okay, let's start at the beginning. What is happening? You know, usually market manipulation in CS worked this way. Buy up a very unliquid item like the P250 facets. In fact, we knew used to be one of the go-to candidates here. You can still see that on the Steam market. This is not normal. You do several sales between your own Steam accounts and then list these on several markets for those inflated prices. You buy up everybody that underprices you and hope that somebody is dumb enough to take your really bad offer. You get extra points when some algorithm on some trading or gambling site, TradedGG, was target of many of those attacks, and their algorithm actually priced your item that you just manipulated according to those fake sales. So you could then deposit all of the P250 facets you just bought for those inflated prices and cash out a lot of liquid skins from those platforms. Nowadays, the manipulation is way bigger and more obvious, but just more straightforward. The first instance of these manipulations started in January 2025 with noticeable spontaneous spikes on certain high tier items, followed by the insane market explosion and implosion in April of May, which resulted in this big crash. But this market crash was not as bad as expected. It was not some pump and dump scheme where the value just went back to normal. Yes, many of these skins are still up to 50% lower than their all-time high, but also around 200% higher than what they were at the beginning of the year. This is most likely because the items that were manipulated were in fact undervalued, and those big market raises just kinda triggered a price correction. But this is not what is happening today. It seemed like this successful market manipulation woke up some bigger groups and gave way to even more of that. And these bigger groups are now mass buying certain items. They began with mainly factory new liquid play skins and switch now to certain stickers, with the EG and Renegade Stockholm Holo being the best example. And just recording this video, some dude bought 18,000 euros of Rox Holos from me, and now the price is up 50% in a single day. And as Counter-Strike skins are basically an unregulated market, they are for now really successful with these manipulations. The prices hold pretty stable, even though they are kinda ridiculous, and they are so stable that even traders like me actually buy these items when they get offered for a good price, because at least for a certain degree I can rely on that the prices don't go to back where they were within a week. Most of these inflated items I bought over the last 2 months just increased further, so yes. But of course, we don't know the numbers behind that. how much have these manipulators spent, how much have they sold already, how coordinated are these groups, will there be a big crash, or will the manipulators keep buying and holding for a long time, which also would be better for them, because then they really make some money. We just don't know. But what is very important is how you handle it if you have items in this crash or get offered items that seem to be fishy. And this is no matter if you just have some skin or regularly trade skins for profit. First, let's check how can you see that an item is most likely manipulated or even just overpriced. Sounds easy? Just check if price went hella mental, yes? No. Some items might seem like they were manipulated, but are in fact just affected by something else. Maybe an item they are connected to is manipulated, or it was just an update or just a market race. There can be a lot of factors that look like manipulation, even though the current race is kinda obvious. If an item is indirectly affected by manipulation, it kind of results in the same volatility, but isn't so wide. So first, if you trade nowadays, double check your prices. You should do this anyways, but many of these plugin prices are hella outdated, and even if you have it set to like refresh every 6 hours, a lot can happen within 6 hours nowadays, okay? So don't take these prices you see in trade offers, double check on reliable marketplaces. And if you get offered or have a skin that you think could be manipulated, let's check if it's really. First, you check, of course, the price history. I recommend checking on several markets that have a high and reliable volume. If it looks like this, be careful. Very important here is to check for actual sales and maybe even buy orders, not just for listings. Because with manipulated prices, you often see 3 things at the same time. First, a low amount of buy orders that are comparable lower than the listening prices. Second, regular sales that are suspiciously under listening price. And 3, which is really common nowadays, rare properties, so low float or stickers, selling for market price. If you are still unsure, you can second, check comparable items for anything suspicious. This can be the same item in other conditions. For example, the Factory New Lead Museo is selling for more than the Stat Trek Factory New one, even though that one is more desirable and 10 times more rare. So this doesn't really make any normal sense. There are certain skins, for example for trade-ups, they make sense for being more expensive in non-Stat Trek or knives, but with skins like this, no. Trade-up skins is also a good way to check. The trade-up community is really big and really fast, so if a skin goes up, there are a lot of people that would be like, yo, I'm not retarded, I don't buy that skin. I buy the skins that trade up to it and just craft it myself. So if a skin is way cheaper to be traded up to than to just be bought, be careful. And you can also compare it to comparable items. If you compare similar knife finishes, for example, you can pretty fast spot if there are any sus numbers. Third and last, if you're still not sure, manually check for manipulation. Yes, you can do that. Even though many of these manipulators kinda have private profiles and we don't see the transactions, you can check many of those. They either have public profiles, either they or the seller has the FloatDB extension, so we see where the item is going, or they even just bought it on a marketplace where you can track it. And manipulation has something in common. A small amount of people buy a comparable large amount of these items. If you check FloatDB, for example, for your suspected item and filter by recently updated and see accounts buying those in bulk, which doesn't really make sense in most cases, it is most likely something going on there. Okay, now you hopefully most likely know if your item is manipulated. What should you do with it? A manipulated price typically only shows you that it is extremely volatile, which means the potential for the price to change drastically is extremely high. With these sus items, I think it's fair to say that the chance that the price goes down is way higher than it further increasing. But the current situation with over 1 month of these insane price hikes shows that this does not guarantee it. So if you want to get rid of these items and cash in on the profits, or want to risk it and hope that they further increases, is solely up to you. I personally prefer to be careful, so when I get offered a manipulated item, I do not price it at full market price. This is also because the market value is not clear and typically lower than the listings. Yes, a factory new elite Museo starts at 387 euros right now, but seeing the buy orders at 330 and the regular sales way below its listing prices, I don't think it would be fair to set the market price at 387. I also would not like to keep them for long, so whenever I can list them for sale, I definitely do. But for you, I don't really know your background, how much money is on the line and how important that amount is to you. But at this point, it is basically gambling. Nobody, maybe except the manipulators, knows where the price will go. So be aware of the risks that CS skins have in general, but especially those manipulated, and act accordingly. So yeah, I hope this helped you guys in this situation. Don't forget to join the giveaway, boys. I am Neon, and I'll see you guys in the next one.